Hello and welcome to Zwift Live. I'm your host, Nathan Guerra, and this is our weekly community feature for the racing community out on Zwift. This week, we're jumping in with the Zwift Racing League. We are into round number 3, race number 3, and it is a scratch race. Today, we will be out on the Road to Ruins reverse course. It's from an old school expansion. Way back, I think the expansion was around 2017, 2016, actually, that the Jungle Loop was added into Zwift. So in the middle of the Zwift Racing League next week, we will be doing a team time trial on February 4th with the Wandering Flats. Remember, you can join anytime. It is open all season. You can't register a team at this moment, but you can jump into a team at any time. So go ahead, discover a team, and get into the racing. Well, as usual, the co-host with the most, it is going to be Dave Toll that is in with me. Dave, great to see you. How you doing?
It's awesome to be joining you again, Nathan. Really good energy. You know, I love our pre-show. That almost should be its own show, actually, having a really fun discussion about the history of this course. I mean, 2016, 17, that's OG Zwifting out here for sure. So 30 kilometers of racing. It's going to be challenging. I love the format. I'm a purist. I think we've established that through the years, but I love it when we just do this scratched style of racing and let it play out. Let the athletes be the actors on this stage.
Yeah, scratch racing, absolutely love it. It's going to be good. A lot of big hitters signing up as well. Before we jump into the racing, though, I want to give a little reminder for something that's really excited that both of us are going to be involved in, and a whole lot of community members, actually. We have Zwift Community Live coming up in Mallorca, April 3rd through the 6th. This is a live event, essentially like a Zwift Con, where people can all get together from the Zwift universe to ride together. And there's going to be some pretty amazing celebrities there, Dave, aren't there?
Yeah. If you don't mind, Nathan, I'm going to spill a few of those names to pour the tea here, because Sir Chris Hoy has been confirmed, which is I just want to really quickly go back to what you're saying. Nathan, I can't wait to see everybody. I really can't. I mean, it is going to be an absolute blast, but I did want to give some highlights of folks that are in our Zwift community that are people to look forward to meeting and hearing, talking about all things Zwift and just the good life. So Sir Chris Hoy is going to be there. He's one of the most inspirational cyclists, or even humans, that have ever lived. So that right there would be enough. But a friend, colleague, Nathan, I know you've done a lot of work with Kristen Armstrong through the years, 3-time Olympic gold medal winner, and just outstanding human being. I mean, world-class person. So you'll get a chance to meet Kristen Armstrong while you're there. Another person that we've had a chance to cross paths with a few times, Matt Stevens. Is there a cooler person than Matt Stevens in the universe, Nathan? I don't think so. And Freddie Ovett is going to be there for a lot of our esports fans. He's, the gold standard, I would say, amongst esport racers. So, and Nathan Guerra is going to be there.
Thanks for putting me among such legends. Yeah? Wow, Dave, that's a pretty big one. Big shoes to fill there.
And some of your friends, Nathan, like GP Lama and Eric Schlange, and a bunch of the crew that we've come to know and love through the Zwift casts or a Zwift Insider, it's just the cream of the crop. And Nathan, I mean, to be honest, you and I have spent, I think, wouldn't you say, thousands of hours doing broadcasts now?
That's fair. Probably. I think that'd be fair. I think that'd definitely be fair. And you'll be there as well, Dave.
I'll be there. And I mean, we have probably spent 2 hours, 3 hours in real life together, maybe a little more than that. I'm going to throw a Zwift HQ experience that we had back in like 17. Got to hang out a little bit there, but it's been brief and few and far between. So, first coffee's on me when I see you in Palma de Mallorca.
Sounds good, definitely. Well, there are a few spots left. Make sure to go and check out your tickets. We are going to be having daily rides of all abilities. Some of the best cycling in the world in Mallorca. And you get some first glimpses at new Zwift product that are extremely exclusive. So I'm excited, Dave. Like, there's something special to jumping in real life that's different than just sharing the kilojoules, just sharing the effort online, obviously getting to know the backstory of everybody and just getting to know people in real life.
Nathan, I would even compare it to something like, for me, this is my personal Disneyland. I mean, visiting Legoland or something. Whatever your passion is, mine truly becomes Zwift community in a lot of ways. So imagine this: you're pedaling along out just in the hills outside of Palma de Mallorca. You are chatting with Matt Stevens about your favorite Tour de France rider. Sir Chris Hoy comes flying by with Kristen Armstrong, and you're in the mix. You're living life. So yeah, I think they're very close to selling out of tickets anyways. So we
they're all
probably
gone now. Oh, too late, everybody. They're all gone, everybody. No. All right, let's jump into the racing, though, today. Here's what we got as back into the virtual world and the Zwift Racing League. And hopefully we'll see some of these people there as well. I have a feeling we will. That we'll see a couple, at least, that might be on the start line. But Road to Ruins reverts.
I bet from
that's
Riders
not a bad
Without
call.
Borders.
Not a bad call. So race number 3, though, scratch race, Road to Ruins reverse. It'll be in the jungle. It's going to be one of the main places, as well as the entrance over into that jungle. It's 29.8 kilometers. The real pinch points, Dave, it's 2 main climbs that are the pinch points. And if you don't drop them there, the sprinters might have a chance.
Yeah, you got to remember that all the points are at the finish line. Nathan, there's a bunch of riders who would love to see a mountaintop finish here, but with that amount of distance from the end of the climb to the finish line, things will dramatically change. You're going to see the organization of the top teams coming together. I'm thinking about our women's race a little bit later. Aeonian's got a plan for the final act. And this race, though, for the men that we've got coming up is going to be an absolute Donnybrook. When you look at the talent dispersed amongst this start group, there's a lot of different things that could happen out here today. Nathan, I don't think you're going to see a group larger than 12 by the time push comes to shove, and they'll be attacking out of that group into the finale today. But this is what esports racing is all about, a race to the finish line. But one of the things, Nathan, I've heard a lot of people talking about lately is why this format, racing as a team, works so well for them. It's unique to ZRL, the largest racing league in the world, in collaboration with WTRL. And you're looking at a good group of stars right now here in our Peloton. This will not be for the weak of heart when you look at the 30K of racing. Speaking of Riders Without Borders, I think that's their green jersey right up on the front right now.
It is. Good call, actually. There, it's English there from RWB Esports. Great to see them. And things are going to probably kick off to a pretty chill start. I don't think we're going to see any kind of serious attacks because people are definitely going to be thinking about later on. You might see a couple of goes to try and get away and get some distance perhaps before hitting the jungle, before hitting the climb of the lower slopes, the Watopia mountain reverse climb. But Pod's line, actually, Wahoo from the get-go. And Wahoo, they always tend to throw a little bit of a wrench into anybody's plans, don't they?
Well, they do. And that's a great example, Nathan, of a rider to watch today, because it's not really a race to the top of the climb. What it's going to be is who's the best rouleur left at that point. And again, I'm going to emphasize, Nathan, it's not just about you, it's about your team. And, you don't want to blow a group up when you've got numbers in it, right? You have to be strategic in when you make your efforts out here. This is the part of the race now where you have to wonder about, do I burn watts to save watts later? And the answer for me, Nathan, mostly is no. It's going to come down to who's got what left in the tank, because, we've talked about downhills being the new uphills. Well, it's going to be the attacks on the right after that kilometer after the final climb where I'm expecting the most intense action today.
Good call, actually. I think it is going to be that section, of course. Now, I'm going to real quickly, though, bring in the current stands. We have 3 off the front here. Quickly, let's have a chat about where things stand, though, for the league right now. For the league right now, it is going to be Wahoo Esports Old Boys Club at the top. 1 point, though, only over Cryo RDT. Beast Mode presented by Rose are there with that 26 points. Racing Without Borders at 20. Wow, three-way tie, all for third there with Wahoo Esports Hippos that are in that black kit that we just saw, also at 26 points. So that is a serious competition going on between the three of them. Then we've got Restart presented by Alex Co. Not Unknown ESRT, also tied up here for that 7th place part with Talent Frey, 16 points, sitting on with Team Fusion. Cola Quick, and then it's going to be Team Snooze, followed up by Team Enox. Then it's Talent Frey, Baldiso, Snoobs, and the other Team Enox Lions. So that's the current situation for the standings. Old Boys Club, I didn't see them on the attack. I think that they're letting the other team put a little bit of sting in the legs, Dave.
Yeah, well, and Nathan, I love when you look at Wahoo Esports with that 1-point advantage, but really the story there is you've got 3 teams tied on 26 points, and they're only 4 or 5 points out of the league lead. So we could see a lot change on a day like today. Again, it's a scratch race out here, a 7-rider group coming together with a small advantage. So, Nate, I mean, we talked a lot about it, Nathan, over this season here. This is the 3rd race of the 3rd in this batch of racing that we have, but the teams are getting smarter, and wasting efforts in the first half of the race is something that I think people have really wised up on, as far as if you're going to get in a move like this, have intentions to make it work. And Ed Laverick is the kind of rider that I'd follow into a move. It still seems early though.
Yeah, and Laverick, that's the thing with Ed, though. He wants the racing to be hard, doesn't he? Especially on a course like this today, where there is the significant amount of climbs. He wants everybody's legs to get tired because he's got the endurance and he's got the FTP to make moves happen, make them stick. And then what he wants, the best situation for Laverick, is a reduced field where he can start putting in attacks rather than coming down to a sprint. Brandlin is another one, perhaps, as well. Martin Mertens, I'm surprised that Mertens hasn't made this move as well, because that is exactly what Martin Mertens would want to see, is a situation, both him and Ed Laverick. I would also say Stavera. These are all guys who want to make the racing as hard as you can from front to end and get rid of any of those sprinters.
Yeah, I mean, Nathan, when you take a look on Zwift Power, 20-minute power for these guys, and 5 watts per kilo doesn't even get you in the front door. To tell you the truth, when you look at the number of guys that are sitting in the mid-5s right now, actually, let's go ahead. Thanks. Perfect timing is our rider comparison. We were just talking about Ed Laverick out of Wales, who's getting up in that move. And you can see he's at 5.7 watts per kilo, and he is not the top guy, but very comparable to Brandland, who's a rider I'd be keeping my eye on today for sure, Nathan.
Yeah, and as you can see, with that 5.7 there for a full-on 20 minutes, this is a guy who wants this kind of a break to stick. He wants to be able to use that, because look at the sprinting numbers. He can finish. Yeah. Right? There's this just, it's not going to be about the sprint for Laverick. Now, Brandlin, on the other hand, he if they don't get rid of Brandlin, he could be an issue in a sprint. This is a guy who's got an all-arounder.
And the way that this race is going to play out today, and again, if your team can get 3 riders up into the top 10, you're going to be in really, really good shape to take the top points here in the 3rd race of this season. Start looking more, at the power, Nathan, in that mid-range. The guys who are good for 10 minutes, getting in a group about this size. Something that could...
Hey, real quick, I'm sorry, but I just have to point out, I can't even see the pack. What has happened here? Are they satisfied? Old boys aren't in there. They've got a huge gap here at this point. 12 seconds already as they hit this climb. I think we might see some leapfrog in just a second, though.
So 12 seconds might sound like a lot, but to me, it's nothing, Nathan, to tell you the truth. Look at these guys, how much they right now. So, I mean, just look at the raw data. You're right, guys are going to try to go across, but this might be taking the bait, if you ask me, because look at the guys that are sitting back in the peloton. Look at the quality of guys back in that group.
Look at this here now. Rhineland and Dawson. Chris Dawson. Great to see Dawson out here today. Restart now looking to come across as well. We've got all the teams looking to try and get into this break. Now, they think this is going to stick. There's enough firepower up ahead that something might be able to happen here. 2 restarts now going across. Perfectly timed there. That's going to be Wood and Gagnon.
I feel so, Nathan. I mean, remembering this is 30 kilometers of racing. How much more work are these guys in the break doing than the guys that are surfing the wheels back in the Peloton right now? Because let's see, of all of this group, from the Thompsons, the Brandlins, the Michael Podzolins, let Alexander Gagnon is up there. I mean, these are all legit hitters, but they're playing their cards really early here today.
Yeah, it is pretty early, and you're right here. But I think with the reality of what this course has to provide, if it doesn't stop coming at you if you race it this way. If you race it this way, there isn't a lot of opportunity where you can. I just feel like there's a lot of opportunity here to continually get time on the pack. Look at the pack. Look at how strung out it is, and I think that with the way that they're racing this.
But that's because the Peloton is full on chasing right now. So they're not letting this go. These guys making this huge effort off the front. What good is it going to do them when they get caught in a K?
True. That's true. And right here, this is the one section where the main pack can bring back massive amounts of time. These guys need to be doing 52, 53. They're only doing 50 here at this point. They need a little bit more than that, in my opinion, to really make this stick, because look behind here. Peller and the rest now, they're coming around at 54 kilometers per hour. That is a massive speed differentiation. As you look in that lower left-hand corner, they're going to catch this little bit of a split that was trying to make it happen. Now are they going to sit up? They've still got the gap here. Now it's going to be about whether or not there's continuance in that front group. Whether or not they sit up or they say, no, I'm going to stick this out all the way to the lower slopes. It's a good point, though, Dave, because if they do stick it out to the lower slopes and there's one or two riders, they're sitting just 300 meters back or so right around these front wheels, and they've been reserving till that moment, they're going to bunny hop maybe over the top of that front group and hit it hard.
Well, and again, I would even say the next phase of patience comes in, because you're still counterattacking with 21K of racing and two major climbs to go.
With a dirt climb too, right, Dave? There's a dirt climb involved as well.
I'm going to save my bullets. It's easy to get sucked into the excitement of the racing and the drama and the dynamics of attacking and breakaways, but the race is going to be won by the riders. Did you just call it my
personality? Like, that's my...
Yeah. Well... But, I mean, in all honesty, races are won by the riders that don't get called in on that drama. It's staying back and staying calm. I mean, it's just the way the sport works.
100%.
They've been caught. So of that effort, Nathan, what good did that do them then? Other than now, they're a little, I'm not even saying they're exposed for a counterattack, because nobody's going to counterattack out of this. They're going to wait.
Yeah, but the climb being so close, right? There isn't really, they're going to take a right-hand turn. And there's a big, look right off in the distance there. You can see it. There's this monster climb.
You would have. Look what's happening. It's bunching up at the front because everybody now realizes, well, all right, they fired a bullet across the bow. It didn't even ruffle anyone's feathers back in the Peloton. All the top guys that didn't get involved in that take a little bit of a feather in their cap, as that was the right play early.
Interesting uses here of that power-up. You know, personally, I would have waited until we hit the actual jungle and used it through some roll-through speed, because there's going to be an intense downhill through that jungle. And if anybody does have the steamroller still through that section, you're going to be able to really carry some speed. And I think you do hit a second steamroller through the jungle loop banner as well. So you've got two opportunities with them, but I would use them all on the jungle through high speed moments.
So we should talk, because it's been a little while, Nathan, since we've even seen the steamroller out here. For all intents and purposes, I believe it's 30 seconds. I'll double check that, but where it turns whatever surface you're on into what you're seeing right now, smooth tarmac. So that's going to be the rolling resistance that you're up against. So as Nathan was saying, you'd see it. I mean, that was going across a wooden planked bridge. That's not a bad place to do it, but there wasn't much value there either, other than moving up through the group and positioning, which does have value for sure. But Nathan, good point. There's going to be a moment later where that will be huge. I feel like it's been months since we've seen the steamroller in game.
Yeah, it's been, I think we may have had one instance in round number 2, perhaps. Now looking here, though, Dave, we've got Podsy on the front, and this is where you just got to match the wattage. It was 8% for a little while there, 20.5 kilometers to go. Now, it is about continuance over the top of this climb.
Well, and this is where, so we're still early in the race, and this is where you can split the group. I mean, if you really, really are intent on it, and I think that's maybe what Podslane is thinking is, if you can just play that numbers game, keep most of your riders up in the front group, and there are going to be riders getting tailed off. So here we go. Michael Podslane is taking out that 20-pound sledgehammer, 20-kilo sledgehammer, and is wailing away. And there's a bunch of riders trying to hold on to a lifeline at the back of this group, Nathan. There might even be 10 riders coming unhooked right now.
This is full gas now at this point, coming in from Podslane up into 6-7 watts per kilogram here. We do see Rhineland hanging on just barely there, trying to hold on to the wheel. The continuance through this section, it is a 3% gradient, so you can still put people in the hurt locker. You get enough draft that you can hang on if you're there, but if you're trying to come across to this, the speeds actually pick up so much on this 3% if they continue to press at the front, and because it is a little bit of a rise, it's hard to close gaps down at this point if they're working together at the front. Ben Muir there, Wahoo, the old boys, now starting to make their way to the front here. Watch out for this. I have a feeling that we've got something planned because they knew this section, of course, would be one of the most crucial. The speeds over the top into the jungle can cause massive separation. They're going to take a right-hand turn in a moment here. Enter this jungle section. It's going to be uphill again before they descend into the jungle.
Look, I mean, this is exactly, so there are 2 Wahoo teams and 2 Talent Fray teams in this race, but I believe the one Wahoo team that you see in the familiar purple and mauve, I guess you'd call that color, that the other team wearing black, I believe, today. And both of those teams, Nathan, are very well represented up in the front of the group. This is absolutely a huge moment. That split has happened. You can see a few riders fighting their way back up into this group. This might be as few as 30 riders in the front group when this is done and dusted here. So credit where it's due. The entire Wahoo team looks like they're here. They've shed, oh man, they've been punching tickets left, right, and center. Nathan, so I tell you what, if there was anybody who was in that first move who didn't make this selection, that would be a lesson learned.
Looking at Mitter here, Rose Beast mode in an orange kit, actually. Interesting enough. And now it's going to Rose Beast mode to the front again. Now here comes the roll through from O'Connor as well as Dawson. This is good to see. I think these 2 riders here definitely trying to make something happen to continue on as they see the split.
This gap.
Yeah, because the split's there, isn't it, Dave?
Right. The split is there, so now you're just trying to make it baked into this race rather than let that next group come back by everybody sitting up and saying, hey, look at that. We split the group. Well, if you don't stay on the gas, they're going to come right back and rejoin you here. So what they're doing is making sure that all that hard work doesn't revert itself. So it looks like this now will start to settle down. So that was just some good old school bike racing right there.
Very well done. As looks like Wahoo continue to press on. We see 3 Wahoo riders up to the front. It's going to be Dawson, O'Connor, one other there as well. I'm seeing plenty of Cryo RDT, though, still involved. I am seeing toward the back here 1 or 2 other Wahoo riders. So I see 5 Wahoo riders that have made it here now at this point. Good on them. As the current series, maybe even 6 actually. I think they might have all 6. I got to double check that though.
So let's try to figure out how did Riders Without Borders do as I take a look. That's Wahoo in black, and they look like they did okay for themselves here as well, Nathan. They might even have 5 up here.
Another roll through actually on the attack on the downhill. Interesting enough. That's going to be Wahoo still. That's going to be Jan Steinman now getting it up into 58, 56.
They're just keeping the pace high. I don't know that this group's necessarily, well, as I say that, maybe I am wrong. But I just feel like they're just keeping this pace high enough that they can move into the next phase of this race. That was some real damage done.
Seriously. that was insane what just went down here.
I'm even wondering, Nathan, as far as like who's leading the chase, what team has the most guys caught out here from our top 5? It is really top 5 teams that are battling on the overall. I mean, everybody's battling, but it's pretty close there with 3 teams tied at 26 points. I'm really wondering who's the big loser here. It's certainly not either Wahoo squad.
No, I'm looking through
and
here.
I feel like Riders Without Borders, Nathan, I feel like they've done well here. It's this darker green jersey. And I think I'm
seeing 2 RWB riders in. I'm not sure I've got more
just
than
2.
3. Huh? No, 3. 1, 2, 3. Excuse me. There are 3.
Okay. And so 3 there. So that's good. That's probably about par
4,
for
maybe
the moment.
1,
See,
2,
I thought
3.
4 myself, but let's the other teams.
The restart one looks a little bit similar there. It is 3 from what I can see, and
Okay.
from the Zwift Power Live updates too, it does look like I believe 3. Restart's got
At Laverick.
plenty in here though. Restart
Yeah.
have 1, 2. I'm seeing 3, maybe 4 even in here. I mean, they've got plenty that have made it.
Brandland and Laverick were both in that early move who survived into the existing front group here. Yeah, not bad for restart, Nathan, presented by Alex Co. Great job by them. So, I mean, more or less, it looks like the top teams survived through that thresher of pain. I mean, it's almost like the overall standings are pretty well represented in this front group, more or less. Because you're right on Cryo. They've got 4, don't they?
At least I'm seeing 1, 2,
It might even be
3,
5.
4,
Yeah.
maybe even 5, 6 in here. Cryo might be the big winners actually on this one. They took
Well,
the
I think
left-hand turn.
Wahoo, or Wahoo, right?
I think Wahoo lost one. I believe Josh Power just wasn't able to hang on. He's been putting in massive hours from what I hear. Maybe a little bit of fatigue in the legs here, but it looked like Power unable to make this. So I think they lost one back there. I think Cryo might have a one-up on them, and what they're going to need to do is Wahoo are going to have to drop some of those riders then in order to even things out. They've got a good situation, but they've still got plenty of work ahead of them if they want to win this outright.
Yeah, and expect this group to split again, to tell you the truth. I mean, you made it through the first few rounds, but there are going to be some heavyweight punches being thrown out here. You can already feel the tension in this group building as we come to the middle part of this race. Well, really, it's a true middle of this race, about half the climbing done.
So I'm going to call out a couple of key sections coming up here because of the steamroller. In my opinion, this downhill with a steamroller is not necessarily somewhere where you want to use it, because the other riders that don't have steamrollers, unless you go like full ballistic, I mean sprint, full gas, but you're probably going to get caught because of the reality of a downhill pack. But as soon as things level out at the bottom of this descent and you head into the flattened out section with the banner that'll be coming with another steamroller available there, you can take a ton of speed off of that downhill into a flat section with that steamroller and just continue on with the speed that you gained actually. And if you get a little bit of a split there, it is a danger moment because some riders are going to have no steamroller at that point. Then you could go double steamroller, right? You could like, bam, bam, continue on. But there is a reality that right after that banner, you do hit some non-dirt section. I also think another crucial section is as soon as you're done climbing out of the jungle, there's some dirt that's left over up there that is flattened and even downhill before you hit the climb out of this whole jungle area. And that section's another section where people are on the rivet and you can hit that again to accelerate away.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the point being, and you're going to stay away all the way to the finish line.
Yeah, I mean that the reality is that it's either that or you're heading up into a sprint finish. Really, it's going to be very difficult to break anybody from there on forward.
My point would be trying to get the most points you can out here. You don't want to punch your own ticket either, right? So,
yeah, true. Very true. Very, very true. I mean, I made me thinking of riders who just don't have a sprint up against some of these other riders here. I mean, Brandlin, he's going to win out on a sprint, probably outright.
Problem, though, is that you're making those moves so far from the finish line would be my... Like, I agree with you that, yeah, you can establish a gap, but you got to have a plan for after you establish that gap, too, in order for it to pay off in the way that we score this, which is points at the finish line today. It's an interesting concept of, like, in Grand Tours, they'll have special awards for riders who spend the most time in a breakaway, right? Those breakaways don't make it to the finish line, but there's something to the spirit of that type of riding.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I just think that there's more reward for a rider like Ed Laverick than to try and get away, or a rider that doesn't have it in the sprint situation that it's
so
worth
you
the
think
risk
so
at that
the
point.
logic being he gets a higher placing by executing these tactics than by waiting and staying in the group
Or softens up the legs of riders that he needs to soften up for the rest of his team. It's just and now we do see the situation exactly as we were talking about here a little bit earlier, into the downhill, using the steamroller through, trying to carry that speed. If anybody's hanging on to these riders that gained all that speed through 52 kilometers per hour through this flat section, that's insane. Now we can see a jump over the top as it uphills a little bit here, and then another steamroller into. If somebody uses it right here, this is such a danger moment. Will someone continue on, or is it all going to sit right on up? RWB are going for it now.
Yeah. There's the steamroller being deployed, but I think maybe just to hold position, as it doesn't look like we've got attacks coming out of this group. But here's a man who's going to roll the dice. It's going to be Ian Inglis.
The tough one with the climb coming up in just a moment here. That's for sure. Not sure it's going to be able to hang on.
This is more for sag climbing, I would think. Just trying to get out in front of it a little bit. Not necessarily
there's big hitters behind here. Really big hitters. I mean, to try and stay away, it's going to be a tough one. But 431 watts, it's no joke he's throwing down right now.
All right. So this next feature here, there's got to be a lot of riders back in that peloton bracing themselves for the next big hit that's coming. It's undeniable that this will be the moment where you're not going to win the race, but you certainly could lose it.
Yeah, that's for sure. He's got a little bit of time here, 4 seconds. Going to be interesting whether I can hold on to that. I think a lot of riders might have a little bit of sting in the legs yet. You may see them start to sit up a tad. I think we're going to have another situation where there is going to be riders looking to bunny hop across here, most likely on the climb. He hits the dirt now.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it in the past where one rider goes clear, all the teams look at each other long enough that the gap extends out far enough that all of a sudden that rider is just gone with the gold. But in this case now, this next huge effort that's going to be made, even a 25, 30-second advantage, you wouldn't be safe with this quality of field behind you here.
Severa sitting third, fourth wheel on the front. Is that going to be Dawson on the front here now that's trying to make things happen?
Look how many guys have the disc wheel here. That's all about the finish today. I mean, it speaks to what we were talking about at the beginning of this broadcast. It is going to be full tilt boogie after the last climb finishes to the finish line. Well, I mean, when's the last time you saw this number of disc wheels? This is all about the last 5K.
Yeah, it really is here now. As you can see, Priority T now trying to bring things back. Most likely going to just keep things steady enough to keep RWB within sight. The downhill is going to be so incredibly fast here that it's going to be difficult to hold on to that speed away from this main pack. Just rolling right on through. We do see the Hippos now starting to take over at the front. That's going to be Philpott and Laverick now still sitting in right around fifth or fourth wheel. Be on the watch out for him. He likes the climbs, that's for sure. He might put some pressure on. We'll have to wait and see how this plays with Laverick now sitting up and toward the front. Brandlin's also there from that ESRT team.
All right, so doing some inventory here. The team we haven't talked about much is Beast Mode, Nathan. They've got Simon Walter, the American on that squad. Ben Nordstrom is here, and Lucas Schlittman. So that's 3 for Beast Mode riding up in the front group. I still think with Callum O'Connor, Angus Butler, Luke Elton, Jan Steinman, Ben Meir. I mean, Wahoo is looking really good. Dan Halliday as well. Going to be interesting, but this group really is showing a lot of respect right now to each other, realizing that when they throw down the gauntlet, it will be on this gap holding here for Ian. So not even really sag climbing this. He's opened up a gap and is holding on to around 7 seconds.
7 seconds now on the front. I think he still has a steamroller, I believe, at this point. We'll have to wait and see here. Continues on 6.2, 6.3 watts per kilogram. Now we see a little press on there toward the front. I see a German flag now starting to make some things happen at the front. That's going to be Schlittman. Yeah. Here, Rhineland's there as well, bringing it back to 6 seconds, really pressing on. This is going to now bring things back together as the speeds pick right on up toward the top of this. And those are the sections where you want to really make the press on, isn't it, Dave? Everybody's kind of at that limit, and then if you've still got a VO2 max, you can cause a little bit of a split. They want to see if they can get some riders to fall off the back. Now we see, look at that. There they are, all those steamrollers, but a little bit early perhaps. There will be some extra sections here to carry more speed through for those who are reserving them.
Yeah, Lucas just trying to boss the front of the Peloton right now, and you can see how quickly that gap has closed. Hit your reset button. We got a whole new bike race, and there you go. That's going to be one of the, I mean, this man can fly like an angel, Niall Batty on the front, but this group is locked in, no question. That was your moment. There you go. Everybody throwing down the steamroller power-up, turning this smooth as glass out here for those riders. So clearly, Nathan, Wahoo's charging again. They're putting more riders up on the front. They're twisting the throttle here. Just absolute pandemonium right now as we've gone inside of 10K of racing. This will be full gas, no question. It's amazing there's this many guys holding on. We definitely separated the wheat from the chaff out here, but it is really impressive from the German Lucas on Beast Mode team as he goes this time. Let's see who's going to make a response.
Yeah, Lucas now back to the front. We can see now as they come up over the top of this little 1%, now 0%. This is what I'm talking about, that negative 3% gradient here at this point. We might just see everybody kind of sit up and be like, enough is enough, because they know they've got a little more climbing coming in just a moment. Will we see some roll through speed? A little bit of a wave there coming on through. Is that Martin Martins or is that Jody Jokums there? I'm not sure which one, but one of the priority team. No, it's Jokums. Nice to see him with the wave. Loving it here. Getting some TV time on as now it's going to be the Hippos back to the front. Now taking over, and that's going to be Philpott. And Philpott, this is the guy, he can really put the hammer down, and it is exactly what we're seeing from him here. The counterattack through the speed sections. We had talked about this after everybody's done with the climbing. We're back into another climb, but carrying speed right on through, and now with the separation, this is a danger moment.
And there he is, the people's champion, Ed Laverick, locked onto that wheel here. We might see a split happening because Lucas is still up in the conversation. Fourth rider is Samuel Brandland. So Ed Laverick and Brandland have been active out here, throwing body blow after body blow since they dropped the flag at the start line. Four riders coming together, a small gap behind. These are the moments that really test you. And who's coming across? It's going to be Wahoo.
That's what a reserve,
Dawson, isn't it?
That reserve, the reserve, they saved until the final moments. They saved until the exact final moments on this 2% climb out of the jungle. This is the perfect timing to use this because this is when everybody has already used all of everything they've got in the tank, essentially just want to hang on over the top, and they're going to carry speed through onto the pavement.
Well, and Nathan, you talked about it a couple of minutes ago, but you don't win races like this by small margins. You have to go big. In order to win, you have to risk losing. And these two have shown that they've got that courage. So that's going to be the Northern Irishman, Chris Dawson here with Andre Reinland from Germany. And these two you will not want to play around with. This is a wicked, potent combination as Brandland is responding. And look at the watts that the Swede is throwing down. So Samuel Brandland up on the front of a group that is going to explode. No doubt about it. It's bursting at the seams. Back in that Peloton right now. It goes single file. And Lucas is still there. He's on an incredible day. Lucas Schlittmann, I tell you what, Nathan, this guy has been phenomenal. But right now it's Andre and Chris having Samuel Brandland getting up to them. He is a human wattage cottage out of Sweden right now when you talk about Samuel. So oh boy, it's going to be Chris Dawson. I thought maybe struggling for a moment, but that is not the case as he's getting back up into this three-rider group. Now watch, this will be a very quick last 7.5K of racing. Take a breath, Nathan. This one is on like Donkey Kong out here.
Ed Laverick on the front now pulling things back for Restart because Restart was not involved in that. We've got three teams now represented on the front of this race here. Just being covered very quickly there, it looks like, by Wahoo, sitting right behind Laverick. Schlittmann's there still as well. They are going to be caught. I thought maybe that was going to be a split, but they just didn't have enough to make it happen here. There's still riders struggling at the back there. We could see this it become another reduced field in just a moment if we see acceleration over the top here, but I have a feeling everyone is at the absolute limit. If anybody's got anything left, they might want to save it for the finish line. I thought they were going to get that split, but nope, all back together.
Well, and Nathan, the depth in this group, incredible, to tell you the truth, to face that, just the barrage at the front of this group. And now it goes back to what we were talking about at the front of the bike race. Who are the riders who've kept the most in their tank here? As we've seen some big plays by guys like Christopher Dawson, certainly Ed Laverick. That guy's a monster. But I have a feeling that someone's going to come out of the woodwork on this group.
Real quickly, just to get an idea, Dawson, this is a guy who can do it all. That's for sure. Let's take a look at this. Andre Reinland, who is on the front there. Chris Dawson, 12 point. Reinland.
What I was going to say, if Dawson can do it all, how do you describe Andre Reinland? Then?
Right, 11:21. Absolutely insane.
So, I mean, Nathan, 15.8 watts per kilo in a sprint, 15-second power, and in the mid-fives, 5.4 watts per kilo for his 20-minute power. That's so impressive. And we've seen Chris Dawson. I mean, Chris Dawson has in real-life results in World Cup mountain bike racing. He's a really talented, multi-dimensional racer. But esports are just one of the very high levels that he races at on a bike. This group is now, it is worth noting, Nathan, that there are two different Wahoo teams in this group that are scored separately here. The black jerseys and then the blue kit.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that they're necessarily working together. They might have a little bit of good feelings toward each other, but we've definitely been highlighting the old boys being the blue kits and the hippos being in the black kits there. And they've definitely not been, they might not be chasing each other too much.
It's not a moot point.
No, it's not.
I fully understand how that has been done in the past, and it not pretending like that it doesn't exist. But these two teams, in my mind, Nathan, are racing more or less as two separate teams. There's two Talent Frey teams in here as well, but our attention going back to the front of the race. Downhills are the new uphills.
Yeah, and there's a little separation even from it. This is interesting at the back. I don't know. It's not going to cause, I don't think, anyone to necessarily fall off the back, but it definitely is putting a little bit of hurt, I think, in the legs at some of the riders that might not have been paying exact attention. I mean, at the back here, Dawson's definitely have to work a little bit to get back on terms.
So, Nathan, I do want to point out for anybody who's new joining us, which I know very few of you are at this point, this is definitely a team sport. So points are tabulated based on your finish positions here today. If you've watched before, you've seen FTS and FAL, but that isn't part of the sport today or the race today. It's all about where you place at the finish. And there will be points scored behind this group, certainly, but we'll have a very good feel on what team gets their riders up into the top 10 en masse, and that'll be a really good indicator for getting the win out here today. I'd say there's really 5 teams now that are still in that conversation, depending where the points may fall. There's the Steamroller, again, turning this gravel road into smooth tarmac as the rain starts coming down inside of 4K to go. Small split now. Philpott super active. The monster man to German Andre Reinland. And there's Martin Mertens. It's the first time we've talked about Martin Mertens. This is it. This is your moment right here, right now, Nathan. Martin Mertens is going to change the game.
And now here's the question. Does Philpott drag him right to the bottom of this? And then there's a jump through with the speed. They're going to have to roll this so well. They've got to keep it over 58, 60 even kilometers per hour, because behind there may be a bunny hop situation again going on. I know I'm using that a lot, but it really is all about being able to jump across the brakes like this and not bringing that whole group with you.
The classic tug buddy situation you're looking at right now. They're trying to his teammate Reinland is trying to launch Martins into the finish. Reinland has been the breakthrough rider of the season, no doubt about it. That's the cryo team that we're looking at. Coming across now, is this Callum O'Connor, Nathan, that you've got on screen? I believe it is, coming across, trying to bridge up to our front group.
And he's carrying a lot of speed through them there. 54 kilometers per hour. It'd be good if he actually just carries that right on through them if he has more than them. Now we do see it looks like that's going to be beast mode again on the front. Is that going to be Lucas Schleitman again making the pull through? Who is that on the front there? It's going to be Steinman, Schleitman just nonstop here from Lucas, pulling this all back together.
Baby. This is all Germans up on the front right now, Nathan. We haven't seen that many German flags sitting up in our top 5 for a while as they're coming up quickly on 2.5K to go, and they're going to hit the reset button. I mean, the dynamics out here with the level of racing that we're looking at, this is phenomenal to see that quality of 3 riders were unable to stay away for more than really 2 kilometers of racing out there. They're not giving any leash. It's starting to look like we're going to see a reduced group field sprint, Nathan.
And that timing too, with that steamroller was so perfect from the 2 cryo RDT riders coming through that section with all that speed, got the split. Is exactly what they want, a race of attrition. Now, who is that? Is that going to be Laverick? Is that Laverick making a move here? Late move from Ed Laverick? It might be.
Well, and the rider I'm watching here is Alexi Kalman, the Danish Express, Nathan, as he's got to be champing on the bit right now, looking for an opportunity to sprint out of a quality group like this as they're keeping everything in check. I mean, they are not letting anything roll clear.
Yeah, and the thing is no one's sitting up. It's not like this is slow paced. They're still doing 5 to 6 watts per kilogram the entire time, and people are just sitting in looking, what can we do? Hold on for the final kick. Laverick now, here he goes. Is this going to be his final dig here at the front? What's he pushing out here? Laverick's up into 8 watts per kilogram, even 746 watts. Laverick is putting in a massive move, but it's not going to be enough.
Unreal. I mean, Ed Laverick going absolutely ballistic. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to downtown Payne City. We haven't seen a finish like this in years, Nathan, as these guys are all galloping now. Just holding your position in the group is tough to do as we're rapidly coming up on 1K to go. Rain coming down. It's going to be, again, Ian Inglis on the front. Riders Without Borders are having a phenomenal day out here. Who's going to want it more? This is what it's all about, Nathan. We're inside of 1K, so who's going to make this happen for their team? There's going to be a real rush coming from Wahoo, I feel. They are right there. Here we go.
The lightning's even flashing. You gotta love it, Dave. The intensity here coming from the world of Zwift. Laverick now making another move, it looks like, at the front. He's got a little bit of a gap. He's trying to press the pace here. 500 watts from him. Ben Meir keeping it within the striking distance for the Wahoo team, but restarts off the front. I don't know if he's gonna be able to hold on to this. Here comes the gallop here from the main pack. There's 2 Wahoos on the front. Now a final kick. That's gonna be Dawson. Dawson now making the kick. Dawson's gonna come flying through. He may be able to get the upset on everybody. Chris Dawson, is he gone? There's no arrow power-ups available. Here comes the pack. He's not standing up and out of the saddle. Dawson now 700 watts, but I don't think it's going to be enough to hold on, as it's going to be Jody Jokums. Jokums going to be able to hold on? Jokums? Nope, not Jokums. I think that's going to actually be the ESRT rider. Perhaps Dawson trying to make it happen. He's not going to make it. Dawson did it. I can't believe it. Unbelievable.
He got it. Superstar status unlocked by the Irishman Christopher Dawson. That, Nathan, is what it's all about. I can't believe he held on. That charge.
How did he do that, Dave? Like, I thought for sure he was getting caught. That was insane.
You have every reason to. I mean, Nathan, I was following along right with you. I thought, what a heartbreaker. They're going to get him at the line. And again, we'll have to go back and look at the back-end API. But by eye, it certainly looked like Christopher Dawson with a heroic win. But Nathan, I think today for Zwift Live, we're really the winners here. That was so much fun to watch. Elevated heart rates around the globe as we are only halfway home. We've got a women's race to look forward to that will certainly be on par with what. Now, generally, the guys have a hard time living up to the women, but today it's on the women to live up to that one. Because
yeah, it's true.
Awesome
That was absolutely amazing racing action, and they made the race today, didn't they, Dave? I mean,
100%.
Racers make the race. It was on from the get-go. Actually, I mean, these guys just were non-stop on the attack. To be honest.
And, Nathan, we talk a lot about tactics and, not criticizing, but just looking and wondering what's going through the minds of these riders. And it makes it so much fun when you've got this much talent out there, because you move into where sport it transcends just the exercise contest. That's for sure.
A little bit of a replay here. No, a little bit of a replay quickly. Yeah, we're just going to see how things were playing out between the riders here.
My screen faked me out. Because I read women's EMEA down there for our next event was mine.
Yeah, we'll be jumping in with them in just a minute here, but just the last little replay of the last couple of last kilometer or so, as we did see Ed Laverick on the front making one last ditch effort, unable to make it happen there.
Attacks.
Yeah, this one right here.
And so, I mean, this is the people's champion, I would say. Is there a more popular esports racer than Ed Laverick out there? I don't know of him, really. And Ed always delivers these kind of performances. Ben Meir really doing a good job today for his Wahoo team.
Yeah, it was actually a perfect lead out. It was perfect, actually. You see Dawson there at the last moment making the kick into the negative gradient there, and there it is. That's what won the race, really. Ben Meir with the lead out.
I was just going to say, great call, Nathan. MVP going over there to Ben Meir, who sets the table there, but this is where the hero status really shows from our man. We've been watching Christopher Dawson racing on esports for 5 years, Nathan, now. And he is still winning in this quality of field. Remembering guys like Martin Mertens were attacking with 3K to go. You had to withstand quite a bit. This is so crazy to watch. I mean, his legs are screaming at this point.
Oh, when you look at that image, oh my God.
I mean, he gets it there. We'll have to make sure that the API saw it the way that our
It was close, that's for sure.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but it's always possible that he did good. We don't have to worry. Alexei Kalman, Nathan, I was saying he was the guy to beat. He was the guy to beat.
We didn't see him touch the front. We didn't see him touch the front once, did we?
See, he follows the Dave Toll theory of don't do a thing.
Right? Like I feel like we have these these guys are our spirit animals sometimes. We're like, we're going to do this. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. And then some are like, no, I'm on the Dave train here. Calvin took the Dave train.
Well, and I mean, Jan Steinman didn't. He was super active. He's your kind of guy, Nathan, for sure. Look at all the German flags today. That was fun to watch. Jamie Philpott, do we have an award for him, Nathan?
Definitely always one of those most aggressive riders. He's a guy who likes to take a move and just try and make it stick as long as he possibly can. So nicely done.
And then Samuel Brandland. This is a name to go ahead and file away in the top drawer. There's a top shelf talent, Samuel Brandland there, finishing 5th today. Again, what's really important is how all your teammates did as well if you want to win the day. But Moritz Ritter there, Rose Beast Mode with a few. It might be them today, Nathan. It might be a Rose Beast Mode day. Look how they did with Moritz Ritter in 6th. It's Yodi Jokums and Yodi Racing for Cryo, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. In 7th, Lucas Schlittman, who was up there all day long. Another Rose Beast Mode rider in 8th. Rodrigo Fernandez, 9th place. And then Emil Tudor for the Fusion team in 10th. So a couple Danish riders getting up into our top 10 here as well. Not one American flag today.
Oof. Ouch.
Did that hurt you?
Just a little bit. But Dave, after 3 races, though, now this is the scratch race finish line for top 10. But there's also the reality of the league points for what plays out on the day, right? And the results from what I'm seeing here, I don't have the results loaded up yet for the race results across the points for the scratch race when it comes to them all ended up. Because it is you make a really good point over and over, Dave, that it's a team race and stacking that top 5, top 10, top 20 even with as many of the teammates as you possibly can is the real win on the day, right? And from what I'm seeing 100%. Here, Dave, Cryo RDT dominated today. Cryo from what I'm seeing.
Well, because you've got Alexei, right? Oh, actually, I'm with you, Nathan. It's a Cryo day. I didn't realize that Rodrigo Fernandez was also Cryo.
Yeah, I'm looking here. I think, unless I'm incorrect here, I'm double checking it from league points from what I'm saying. Now, maybe I need to hold off on this.
Actually, it might be Wahoo, my friend. Old school boys. Wahoo. Well, you know what? The fact that they make it impossible to tell tells me it was a great bike race.
From what I'm seeing in the league points, maybe they need an update over at WTRL. I'm seeing 46 currently with 3 races in for Cryo RDT, 44 for Wahoo Esports Old Boys Club, and then Wahoo Esports Hippos at 41, Rose Beast Mode at 40, Racing with Boards at 38, and Restart there at 33 for a top 6. Now, it may mean some updates.
Nathan, that sounds right, actually. That sounds very possible.
Yeah, 100%. Well,
good thing you can always go to WTRL.racing and see where things sort out. There is a little bit of a settling in process after a race like that where all the data.
Yeah, and there's still some riders maybe straggling in.
Still finishing.
It's a tough one. It's a tough race, right? So
I'd still have an hour to go. If I tell you what, today's Tour de Zwift stage was a shocker. That this 4th stage in Tour de Zwift, whether you're doing.
Did you ride it today?
I rode this morning, and it took at least 15 minutes. That's why I was a little bit late for our pre-show. I was finishing.
Good. That's a great reason. That one I'll sign off on every day. Every day. Right. It makes for a happier pre-show. That's for sure. Yeah. We're gonna take the women are coming up here real quickly in just a moment. We're gonna take a 3-minute break and throw up our Zwift Live for just a moment. We'll be back in 3 minutes, everybody, with the women EMEA. It's a longer broadcast, so we'll give myself and Dave just a quick little 3-minute break. See you guys in just a few. Well, we're back here for our community feature for Racing Out on Zwift Live. We're in with the women today, Zwift Racing League. We just got done with the Zwift Racing League for Northern East, I believe that was. Now in with the women, one of the highly stacked fields, Women's EMEA East Western Division 1 with the A's. Road to Ruins, 1 lap, 30 kilometers. We got about 3 minutes to the start of their race. Dave, we just saw a barn burner, nonstop attacks. I think with the quality of field, the teams represented here, ladies, maybe something similar?
Yeah, I mean, it's a Valid question. And, I think the answer is maybe not something similar. It'll be exciting, that's for sure. But I'm going to guess it's not as aggressive in the first half of the race as what you saw in the men's race. But as soon as I say that, Nathan, I realize that I'll probably be wrong. And one of the things when we have these discussions that makes me laugh is, you can be the kind of person, you can be a breakaway kind of person, and most people are. I think they like to root for the breakaway, that there's the drama around that. And when they pull it off, there's nothing sweeter, right? But you have to accept the fact with the risk and the reward that these things don't usually work out, but that's what makes it so awesome when they do, without any doubt. And I think that is the ongoing storyline that makes bike racing so compelling. You just never really know, do you?
100%. With the break, it's always the big storyline as you roll the dice. And I think we like that gamble, don't we? Well, the Aeonian Aces, they don't gamble too much, though. And that's why they're up at the top, I think, Dave.
Yeah, they gamble about as much as Mike Tyson did when he stepped into the ring, right? But you don't win them all. And certainly Aeonian Aces has met some stiff competition out here. As a matter of fact, Nathan, got to give props to BL13, the Rockettes, Wahoo Esports, Roca Corba. They have leveled up. I think that might be the team that I look at that with the most level of impression is that Roca Corba has turned themselves into a dynamite team. So 31 points, only 2 ahead of the Rockettes for Aeonian. They've brought their A squad. I see a lot of the names like Ariel Verheyen, Lanny Harper. There's all Vicky Whitelaw is here, but we'll see because it's going to be an interesting day. BL13 Rockettes, then 29 points, 2 back, only 1 point behind them is Wahoo Esports. And Nathan, I'll be honest, I just cracked open the start list and I haven't looked yet. It's going to be very exciting to see who's on this roster for Wahoo. Some of the biggest names historically, like Zoe Langham. I don't know if she's racing today, but we'll find out. Roca Corba then sitting 3 points behind Wahoo. It's Cryo RDT in 5th right now. They're actually tied on points with Roca Corba there, so 4th and 5th, deadlocked at 25, and only 1 point behind them is Synergy Shred. That's how good it's been. World Bicycle Relief, there is no cooler group on the planet than WBR, sitting in 7th there. And then Wahoo Esports, Grandier, they're keeping their head above water. Good job, ladies, sitting in 8th in one of the most competitive leagues that we've got. So, Nathan, that's where things stand right now. A lot in play, no doubt.
Let's go ahead and jump down into the pens. Riders about to take off, it looks like, as we are in with them.
Lizzie Brooke is here. So that's certainly one of those names.
Lizzie Brooke, Zoe Langham. It looks like the stack field.
They're all here.
I see Eiley Gardner is also here. So be on the watch out for her.
I am not seeing Eiley, which is what's interesting, Nathan. I'm going to have to figure out why. Because she's a game changer today. She's one of the best climbers in esports, I would say. I think you'd agree.
Yeah, and this is one of those, it's an in-between. It's not just a full gas climb all the way through, right? But it's definitely a situation where we could see something go up the road. Now, I'm not seeing, I thought I saw her on the start list, but I'm not sure Eiley is here. Is she? She is, okay.
No, you're right. So there are just going back to the men's race, same discussion. There are 2 Wahoo teams here today in the women's race as well. But you nailed it, Nathan. Eiley Gardner, Lizzie Brooke, Terry Bayless, Zoe Langham, Danny Wilson, and Allison Kerr making up the team that's highest placed right now for Wahoo.
Now, whether or not they make the start line is another question, too. They could be on the list, and then whether or not they make it to the pens sometimes is another question that comes in. I'm looking around here and seeing if we do see her in the rider nearby list as well, and I think I seen her jumped in there. I think I just saw the name come through. So I'd be watching out for her when things get steep. There. Yeah, so as things get steep, and I think Eiley, I was just talking about this the other day. I have a feeling the reason we're seeing Eiley jumping in here is the reality that Zwift Games is coming. And she,
that's a good point.
As well as ZWS with the Power to the Tower climb, those are the kind of courses that she's going to be excited about. And I have a feeling she's getting prepared exactly for that.
What kind of chances would you give a rider like Zoe Langham, Nathan? I mean, she's back.
This is perfect for her. I think, their main goal, I think, is to get rid of Ariel Verhaeren. Like, as far as, if you're just talking about a sprint, but here's the thing, again, it's a team competition, right? And so trying to drop as many Aeonian riders as they possibly can and not bring them to the line. And that's going to be the big discussion out here today is what can this Wahoo team do to get rid of that such a cohesive team like Aeonian, right?
Well, yeah, well, and Nathan, I am just noticing that Kate Turden is racing today. The Australian for BL13.
She on BL13? Ooh, yeah, that's a big pickup.
BL13, yeah, it's huge. She's one of those top 10 riders on the planet type of human beings. And
yeah, she was at World Championships. I mean, right. Watch out for her.
So that's the Australian. The South African on BL13 is Jenna Baril. So I really want to be careful though, Nathan, of just jumping right over BL13 and talking about Wahoo as your danger women, because they have every right to say, hey, what about us? This is a team that has come to the very highest level and is ready to stake their claim. And BL13 today could find themselves, after racing is done and dusted, tied with Aeonian. It's possible. If both BL13 and Wahoo, let's say, are able to beat Aeonian on points, then that might be the situation. Folks, we have a really interesting dynamic to talk about with the league here. A couple of athletes to look at, though, from opposite sides of the globe. But Lizzie Brooke, another OG esports racer, she came to the sport from triathlon and has raced on the... So, interesting life path for Lizzie Brooke, I would say. And I won't have this exactly right, Nathan, but as a triathlete coming into COVID, finds Zwift and esports, has a lot of success, parlays that into racing at the continental level in Europe, and is back with us racing esports now. But Lizzie has done quite a bit on two wheels in her life.
Love to see Kate showing up here, and we'll see what she can pull off. I have a feeling that sprint number there, she might not have had a sprint in the recent days, because I get the sense that Turden has a little bit more than what it was showing there in the books. It's a little bit of a hold back until the right moment maybe there for the show what she's got today. Aeonian, they're looking strong, but I have a feeling that today they may struggle a little bit with how hard this course is. And I get a sense that you're right. Watch out for BL13 perhaps to be the ones to watch out for today. I don't want to or at least be on par with those other teams.
Wahoo.
Wahoo are going to be Wahoo are the standout team that are going to dominate today. Everybody's going to be watching them. But who's going to be that second team that might upset the apple cart? BL13 are right there.
I'm going to make a bold prediction for you, Nathan, here. But I'm going to say that the team that wins the scratch race here today has a very good chance of going on and winning the season now. So Aeonian has their strength might be in the team time trial that'll be coming up next week. Again, they're going to be hard to beat in that discipline. But Wahoo might have the most just potent, talented team. But BL13, at the end of the day, might have the best combination of all of that here. And I'm not going to be surprised if BL13 ends up as the top team at the end of this season. It would be a huge story, to tell you the truth. And I would say that the odds makers would have been looking heavily at an Aeonian Wahoo battle. And this is that third dog comes along when two dogs are fighting and takes the bone and just walks away with it.
It might be what's happening here. Now, with this race, though, now, with how calm things have been, Dave, one rider... Okay, before we talk about that, we didn't talk about Cryo at all. Cryo, I mean, again, that's what we're saying, is there's so much talent in here. And Cryo DT are showing up with Jenny Penton. We've got Joe Munden. We've got Marielle Lacroix, Leonie Dijkstra, Natalie Stevenson, Ursula Cassani. This is another team that's got maybe... going to be under the radar a little bit, but on a pure scratch race out here today. Very different discipline than the last two we've seen. That's another thing to talk about, is like, this is a format where there's a totally different type of rider that can shine. And so we may see something completely different from what we've seen. We saw Wahoo show up and absolutely dominate the first TTT and it did a great job there. Then last week, things kind of, changed up with Aeonian with the points racing. But now today in a scratch race, that opens up the door for a lot more riders to shine.
There might be more talent distributed amongst this peloton and the highest level that we see in all of ZRL, to tell you the truth. Because, Nathan, you can continue to work through this start list. I mean, I race like a girl. You've got Carly Johan, Meredith Kessler, Tamara Jewett, Colleen Baker here with that team. We haven't mentioned Roca yet either. All of these teams have a lot to be proud of. And, Nathan, I was right, to tell you the truth. It's rare enough that I want to underline it, go back and revisit it, because this group is racing for the finish line today. Nobody's wasting one extra watt right now. Attacking
We're not seeing anything similar at all to the men's race.
What I call a Guerra
plan,
attack, right? Yeah, an unplanned, free-spirited, free-form attack, not happening right now. As all of these women. I mean, and again, racers make the race. Is there a truer statement than that from us over the years, Nathan? That it's their race to race the way that they want to?
Tamara Jewett now it looks like on the front, the triathlete with that pro triathlete green jersey. That's what that means. Lizzie Brooke, you can always spot Lizzie when she's...
Where's her green jersey? Yeah, well, maybe she's not a pro triathlete anymore.
Yeah, it's a good question there.
Because at one time, she was winning Ironman 70.3s at one point in her life.
Yeah, I love it that she tries to make her avatar look like herself in real life as much as possible. She's got the red hair going on there. She does a great job.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's cracked the code better than Lizzie Brooke on what you just said there. Alison Kerr, the Scots woman on that Wahoo team, riding the front. I think she's just keeping everybody honest right now. Lifting the pace. Eiley Gardner, one of the best climbers in the world, moving her way forward. This now would get my attention, Nathan, with Wahoo moving everybody up to the front like this.
Interesting use of these steamrollers through that section. A little bit of a push on there with those. There isn't going to be another steamroller until they actually hit the banner in the jungle. So that's a very early use of the steamroller.
Sarah Roach in the field today.
Is she really?
Even notice,
who's she riding for?
I didn't notice her name. It must be Cryo, would be my guess, although let me confirm that.
Is Synergy in here? I'm seeing the Synergy
kit,
but
bad.
Is Synergy a part of this race? I wonder if maybe she's guest riding.
Guesting with someone. Let's see if we can figure that out. She's out of Houston, Texas, has been running a marathon lately. I think she just ran the Houston Marathon. Super cool and active. Abe is Synergy today.
Yeah, I am seeing it there. Okay, so they do have a team in and amongst the crew here. I'm seeing a couple of the jerseys. Great to see Synergy. Watch out for them. I'm seeing plenty of Synergy jerseys. My mistake.
Yeah, Leah Sophie Rammert. Right, yeah. Maria Tomerby Thompson as well. The Dane on that squad. Nathan, I don't know that we have a start list with more recognizable names than what we've got with these women here today. And they also recognize each other, if you know what I mean. Everybody has such a high level of respect for the women in this group that they're not going to play around with this one at all today.
Yeah, and a few of these ladies may be thinking about their national championships coming up pretty quick here. Canadian and U.S., right? So that's a big thing.
Right. And, it's interesting, Nathan. I'm not even sure these days exactly how that works as far as how your nation decides what weekend you're racing on or what day you have your national championships. I'm going to guess that comes down to your national federation and what they choose to do. It does, I suppose, at the end of the day. It's their jersey, their competition.
Yeah, so upcoming this weekend, I believe it is the U.S., and then the following weekend, Canadian National Championship, I believe, if I'm not incorrect. So the U.S. riders, I think Sarah Roach may be someone who might be thinking about that a little bit. There might be a couple others in here that are thinking about this weekend and then the following weekend for the Canadians. So, there's definitely some training going on and making sure they're getting their final race efforts in.
So that jersey, that's got to be Kate Turden there shouldn't say got to be because it's Vicky Whitelaw in the Australian jersey at the back of the group.
Right? Is that right?
I believe it popped as Vicky there.
No, she's just right next to her because she's the reigning champion is Kate. So Kate's wearing the right one. They're just right next to each other.
Oh, that's what happened there. So that jersey that you're seeing, the white with the gold and green, is Kate Turden, who we talked about at the top of the show. Superstar athlete, as Nathan said. She was in that group that was at the World Championships, but reigning Australian national champion. Vicky Whitelaw, Nathan, must have been the Australian champion at a time
She was
or two.
at one point, yes. Right. Oh, yes. She's definitely had that title.
It happens to be right next to her right now.
Yeah. Well, super calm. They're all just waiting for this climb. They are reserving everything they have. I wonder what kind of fireworks we're going to see at the bottom of the reverse epic KOM in just a moment here, because this has been so chill.
So when this group splits, which this group will split, I will bet dollars to donuts that Gardner, Langham are two of the names that you hear. And that's not going to be all of the Wahoo team that makes that split. But, I mean, if you keep working down this list, you would certainly think that Kate, we're just talking about, would be there. Jenna Baril, talking about BL13. But our host team, I think that's really, Nathan, what I want to focus on while we have the group still together. You know, a lot's going to pin on riders like Lanny Harper today, Miriam Bullock, Rachel. We talked about Vicky Whitelaw. I expect she makes the selection. How about Ariel Verhaeren today?
Real quickly,
if it's a
just
sprint,
want to jump
she
in
might
here.
win.
These two are your danger women when it comes to being able to do the all-arounder, right? 4.5, 4.3, steady with those 20 minutes, up in the fives for those 5-minute powers. Then they've got big kicks, 13 and 12 watt per kilogram for their 15 second. I mean, these are definitely the ladies that those two teams are thinking about for the scratch, I think.
And Nathan, if you asked me to guess who had the higher 15-second power, I would have said Ariel all day long, to be honest with you. The fact that Zoe is on paper has a stronger sprint than Ariel is mind-blowing to me. And it shows you how, really the range of those two athletes.
Remember her at Worlds a couple years back, though, on the Scotland course, right? I mean, we saw her in the in the final there with the sprint over and over and over again. She definitely has it in her, that's for sure.
So alarm bells really need to be going off right now as Wahoo's put the whole team on the front, and they're just going to start lifting the tempo. This is going to be old school twisting of the throttle now, as that's Eiley Gardner on the front. It looks like Lizzie Brooks setting in second wheel. Vicky Whitelaw is getting up into the mix. Zoe Langham is there. Lanny Harper is here. So, Nathan, it's kind of quietly, this is the bike race right here, right now. As even though it's not exploding the front of the group, take a look at what's happening in the back and middle of the peloton. As everybody's going to be fighting now. Numbers are pushing up higher and higher. It's getting really steep here. And Wahoo Lecole look like the Italians and breaking away as they're taking it to them here. Roca Corba standing strong. Aeonian with 3 riders in this group. But, Nathan, it's a Wahoo moment.
Yeah, Wahoo now with 4 on the front. Really, actually, there's 5 still involved here, I believe. Actually, no, it's going to be 4. You're correct
4,
there. Yep. And so, who's the Aeonian rider that's able to hang with them there? That's Vicky Whitelaw.
So BL13 with 2. That's going to be, actually make it 3. BL13 has got 3 up here, so it's not ideal, but it could be a whole lot worse.
1, 2, 3, 4 still with, it's going to be Vicky Whitelaw holding on with Aeonian there. Murray's having a great ride with BL13. Being able to cover, it's going to be crowded to you. Joe Munden is still there, but they're pressing on. They're still trying to snap it here, and they're getting a little bit of a distance. 3 of them are starting to get distance between them now. There's snapping happening at the back. I have a feeling they may be able to get exactly what they're looking for here.
Well, okay, that wasn't the dynamic race-winning move, but what it was Wahoo asserting their authority here, and they are taking an advantage with the numbers up in this front group. Aeonian with 3, BL13 with 3. So right now, Wahoo is looking to make their statement here in race 3 of season 3. Who's this over the top? Okay, just looking at the strung-out group now, but how about Tamara Jewett, Nathan,
Oh, this is right here. I was looking for the sections where the little splits that had happened that riders might be able to just barely come back on. And this is huge for Megan Anderson. If Anderson can get back involved in this pack, that puts BL13 seriously in the contention for points. That puts 4 BL13 in this lead group.
I'm surprised Wahoo didn't push harder to hold her off, because that really is a game changer. Her great catch. Her rejoining there evens things up between Wahoo and BL13 now.
Yeah, because Aeonian only have 3, Dave. Aeonian have 3.
Although, Aeonian right now is watching their lead possibly going down the road. It's going to be, at this point now, Wahoo's got to be licking their lips, Nathan, because if they can do that kind of damage on the first climb, they should think that they should be able to do something similar, and then they're going to be good for that downhill run to the finish line. After you crest the second peak, Lizzie Brooke we're looking at. This is the very front of the bike race that we're looking at with Lizzie Brooke and Ariel Verharn. So Verharn doing a great job, showing her experience, and Grinta riding up on the front. It's still Eiley and Zoe, and I feel like they haven't even flexed yet, Nathan.
Looking back behind here, Bullock and a couple of others trying to come back on terms, it looks like here. Roca Corba as well. That's going to be the split that Aeonian unable to put that 4th rider in. Oh, that's a massive letdown for Aeonian, honestly, here. Anderson now struggling again. This is touch and go for Anderson. She has to hang on. Another Aeonian rider a little bit off the back. Vicky Whitelaw struggling. That tells you the kind of pace. This pace must be ballistic if Vicky Whitelaw is barely hanging onto the back of this.
Yeah, this is the creme de la creme, no doubt about it. And that team is Wahoo, a course that suits them so incredibly well. Nathan, you got to make hay when it's in the field, and that's what Wahoo is doing here. And they still have been conservative, to tell you the truth. This hasn't even been them at their best yet.
Well, I'm really glad to see what we're seeing here from BL13, but I think they did drop off Megan. So, like you had said, they didn't turn the screws right when she came back, but instead, up and over the top here into the downhill is when they did, and Anderson now off the back, I believe. So that is going to leave BL13 with only 3 riders versus Aeonian's 3 riders. So now things are even up for that second place out here today, but Wahoo with 4, they are the winners after that section.
And there's not many athletes this bodes well if you're chasing and still looking to rejoin. At least you've got a chance here, but not many. Yeah, it's just too big of an ask to rejoin a group like this. So let's see what they can do back here. These points really will matter still, no doubt about that. Everybody counts in WTRL, ZRL racing.
That's going to be tomorrow, Jewett. We saw her on the front plenty. She does have a steady engine, Jewett, doesn't she? Because of that triathlete background. She's got 5 riders here with them. I'm not sure it's coming back like you'd say. And even if they did, there's the climb through the jungle. Most likely to get dropped again. But she's putting the work in here to make something happen and maybe just not get caught by those 3 behind.
Listen,
that might be what's going on here.
That's a really good point, Nathan. She's racing for points. It might not get her up into that. It's still at 16 and a half seconds, but the problem is even if she gets it down to 5 seconds, there's going to be another hit out from that front group that'll change everything. I love the spirit of this, though. And let's be honest, the points that they're talking about really will matter back here. It's not like they're out of contention. It's just they're not quite in that front group.
It matters to beat the Aeonian rider here. That's, I think, a big thing. And the Aeonian rider getting a free ride from Roca Corba here, now looking to go across. That's a big upset, actually, and probably a little frustration for Megan Anderson because BL13 are winning out against the Aeonian if she gets the better of this rider, Bullock, right now. But Bullock not going across, that's exactly what Megan wants to see.
And this is exactly what WTRL is all about, Nathan, trying to keep everybody involved in the racing. Well, that's it right there. Case in point. All right, the gap is going now. I think we can really settle in now on this story of what do you do if you're Aeonian. I don't know that there's much you can do. Damage control probably would be the best way to look at things and not make it any worse than it is right now because this Wahoo team comes in. They are just raging today. Eiley Gardner is going to be putting a lot of this group splits again, I would think, that on the next climb. Great job by Sarah Roach. We've watched Sarah over the last year and a half get better and better just based on her hard work and stick-to-itiveness. And now here she is riding in, which basically the highest level of racing that you see in esports are these women right here, right now.
Roca Corba getting one rider in to this main group that's made the split. Let's take a look real quickly. Who is that rider for Roca Corba now as they make their way over the top here? That's going to be Emily. Is that Emily Escort? No, that's 15 seconds back for Emily here. I'm going to get another live look here real quick on our data feeds. And for Roca Corba, that's going to be Grace Sargent, I believe, that's made that front group. Nice job by Grace Sargent. We've seen her name pop up quite a few times, actually, so far in this round number 3 of the Zwift Racing League. And she's definitely shown that she's got to stick with some of the top riders in the world. Nice job by Grace.
Yeah, another South African esports star in the making. Is that Sarah Roach off of the front right now?
With Synergy? What? This was not expected, but Roach and Thompson saying, look, enough is enough. Let's just make the moves happen here. And Sarah Roach goes on the attack on the downhill. Unexpected. Lizzie Brooke looks to cover.
Yeah, and Sarah's another one of this story. Like, these women, they're so impressive out here. A mom of 2, running marathons, attacking on the downhill here today. Gotta love that spirit, and it's having an impact on the group. You can see riders going to their power up here. The gamification is going to be BL13 that's responding to Sarah. It's good to shout this name out. Victoria Reed making her mark out here today. That's how you level up. If you've made this group, you're an esports rock star.
Well, Roach brought back into the fold. We'll see. It's totally a synergy move. I'd love to see it, and I gotta say I have a little bit of a soft spot for them because we had them on early on in the Zwift Live Community Racing Series here, and we've seen that their leadership team is so passionate about women's racing, and also when they're de-essed by them, it's one of the coolest situations. Actually, I've listened to it live before, and it's one of the most energetic. I don't know. It feels like a mixture of esports meets your energetic spin class meets the best coaching you could find kind of a situation. It's so great.
There's an authenticity. There's an authenticity to it that I was really struck by. Like how much these women are there for each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that does hold true in general amongst all of these squads. There's something special in community. And, we were talking about Zwift Community Live, the gathering coming up in Majorca. And the bonds, I just did remember Elaine Montoya, Nathan from the Owls, 65-year-old team time trial specialist. I did an interview with her about how it really is community at the end of the day that makes this so sticky with people wanting to come back again and again. Little bit of a calm in this group right now.
I have a feeling that's about to end. We'll see, though. That's because we just saw
it'll be a Wahoo moment, right?
This is the final little downhill on this section through the jungle, and then we'll take a right-hand turn. You'll see the level 10 or whatever it is barrier. There's also a left-hand turn. They're not going to be taken into the coastal expansion, but they'll go straight through into the next banner for their steamroller power up. But this negative 4% gradient, there'll be one little more bump and then another little gradient downhill, and then it's all uphill till they leave the jungle mainly. So are we going to see something similar to what we saw in the men's race here in just a moment?
If you're Wahoo today, are you rooting for BL13 to also be Aeonian?
Oh, of course. That would definitely put, I wouldn't say nail in the coffin, but pretty close to being able to win the league outright.
Well, I think the real answer to that, Nathan, I guess would be, who do you really think at the end of the season is your biggest threat? Right? Is it BL13 or is it Aeonian? And that is unanswerable for me.
Well, yeah, that's the thing about this BL13 team is they just they've been quiet until this point. This season it's kind of a breakthrough season for them, and so I'm wondering if we're going to suddenly see at the end of this season them in contention even.
Nathan, I want to quickly point out Kate Turden is riding for BL13, so this is even 4-4.
Good call. My mistake because of the national champion jersey. I
Right.
missed that. Great call. They could win outright today.
Right, I just realized that.
I mean, the
And
reality of taking Wahoo on this climb or even to the line, it's a big. It's going to have to be almost a miracle moment, in my opinion. But it's possible. It is possible.
I mean, look at start stacking up playmakers against playmakers out here, and this is a little more even than you might think. I still give a slight advantage to Wahoo, but I love it for BL13. The fact that not only are they in the hunt to win, but against this quality of field makes it that much sweeter.
Let's
We're
just
all
do a
big
little
winners out
reminder here.
today.
Just a quick little reminder too. Look, I mean, Wahoo are currently 1 point down on BL13 in the series overall. So BL13 are holding their own, and with Aeonian on the back foot, BL13 could be the leaders of the series after this race if they hold their own here for the points to the line. I mean, there's a lot on the line here for BL13 right now.
I think a possible scenario is 3 teams within 1 point of each other on top of the table. I kind of think Aeonian holds on, Nathan. But
I mean, you can never count them out.
Point.
You can never count them out.
Right, yeah.
You know, they always
it's
have
gonna get
an
closer.
ace up their sleeve. Aeonian are the ace up your sleeve, right? What's this? What is this rider? Is this going to be Tamara? What is going on back there? This is like the ride back from nowhere. What? There's a whole pack coming with her. This is a
incredible.
complete change up.
Well, so they haven't made the catch yet, Nathan. I even think I said it might come down to 5 seconds, but this is where you would think that they're going to hit out with authority in the front group. What a moment! What a moment! I mean, if they get back, you got to tip your cap to that kind of effort. I mean, Tamara, you are amazing as the Canadian is going to make contact, and they are not going to explode this group. This is really something else. 11.5K to go, and we are watching riders coming back up into the front group. Is everybody, I don't know if everybody's going to make it or not, Nathan.
Well, now Wahoo have to be like, it's time to turn the screws because they're letting Aeonian get back involved. We've seen 3 synergy riders here, but Dave, they were dropped off. Oh, no. It looks like a cryo rider just had some sort of a dropout. That's going to be Jirksta. That's too bad to see. She's one of the best riders they have. Maybe she's had issues today because I was wondering where she was at.
Well, and it looks like she's rolling again now. And actually, Nathan, this just might not double the size of the group, but it looks like we've got around 8 riders that are going to come back. I'm shocked, truly shocked. And I think what's going on must be that Wahoo thinks, look, we did it once, we can do it again.
I'm a little surprised at this, but maybe you're right. Maybe the confidence is there. The other side of that coin is we put the work in. Normal. We used a lot of energy. There's not a lot left. I mean, what is it? Where is this sitting now with them? Are we going to see some sort of crazy attack up over the top? Maybe we're waiting for a firework moment. I have a feeling there's still a lot of fireworks to come from Wahoo.
I know there are, and I'm still expecting everything we said about Wahoo to remain true, but I'm surprised that they let this happen. Well, I mean, did it get so tactical in that group that nobody wanted to do any work? It shows you the dynamics at play are at a very high level. And this is a tactical throwdown.
We now have 4 Aeonian riders here. BL13, it was kind of... Here's the thing is it was kind of on BL13 a little bit then at that point, but BL13's not going to put the work in because they know Wahoo is there. So now we've got, as you said, this chess match with so many different players, though, on the squads here. And then we've got these quiet squads like Synergy, etc. Well, Eileen now says enough is enough. Look, Eileen now uphill.
All right, Nathan, and that's the moment here as Eiley goes, this is the fuse, but I am still wondering why Wahoo didn't redouble their efforts to keep that group away, but they're going to answer this, I think, with their legs. This is Eiley Gardner hitting out, and I would say with authority, but she's got more to give here, so this is not an all-in move from Eiley Gardner. This is an opening of the and look, you can kind of just let Eiley go, Nathan, if you
try to respond to Eiley on a climb, you just blow yourself up. I mean, she's throwing down 7 watts per kilogram right now. I mean, this girl can do this forever.
I have a feeling that this is going, gone. Not to discount it, but this is not the droid that you're looking for. If you're
she's
back
just
in
going to
that
go
Peloton.
ride her own race. The only chance you have is actually to reserve some effort and work together on a downhill to bring her back. Because Eileen's such a light rider.
Look,
she's such a climber. That's your opportunity, is to bring it back where she's weak. Because right here, it's like 3 levels above when it comes to how strong she is on a climb.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, honestly, you're seeing a lot of sophistication right now. If they continue to race the way they are, Eileen's going to win solo by 35 seconds here today. I think they'll very likely scenario. That's not the story, though. Don't want to bury the lead, because this is not an individual bike race. Even though Eileen could go across the line first and win the race, technically it's all about the team. And now another goes. It looks like Lizzie Brooke now is going to take her turn. So it's really death by 1,000 paper cuts, maybe, Nathan, as this is going to be Lizzie Brooke hitting out and Zoe Langham. So they've taken the top 3 spots on the road. Eileen Gardner has gone clear she's 15 seconds up the road. Who's responding? Ariel Verhaeren getting on the train, but that's not going to be enough. So I think that the confidence that Wahoo had in themselves, they bet on themselves, and it looks like it's paying off right now. Nathan, we're down to 9.4K to go.
Yeah, looking at the front of the race here, Eileen Gardner, as you said, what has she got now at this point? She's got a solid, what looks to be 14 seconds. It's brought back a little bit by Brooke's attack there, but Brooke is bringing only Ariel Verhaeren with. So if she can come across, that's actually a perfect situation. And then the reality is just trying to beat Verhaeren to the line. But it's not about the scratch race, right? Even if it does come back together. But look, all back together, this actually brings back some time. This is interesting.
Well,
they kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit with that attack. They tried. Well, Brooke has to get the gap here if it's going to work out for them, but that's going to bring back into striking distance with Eileen. If Eileen is caught, she's not winning a sprint most likely.
And, I mean, is BL13 playing their cards perfectly here?
Yeah, I mean, just cover and kill. Yeah, 100%. Right. This is perfect from BL13 as long as they can hang on, not waste too much energy. Reed is still here. Has Churton been able to make it? Where's the Australian National Champion kit? There she is, just off the back. Can they drop her? Now here comes BL13.
Tron. You're going to see her rejoining in just a moment, I think, as there she is. Coming back into the group is the Australian Kate Turden. So BL13 on quite a day. Even if Wahoo wins, what they need I think BL13's racing as much against Aeonian as they are against Wahoo right now. That's for sure.
What's the gap now up to Eileen is the big question. Gardner.
Are you not entertained?
Seriously, this is nonstop now. I mean, now that Eileen's off the front, I think this is a completely different race here at this point, right? We've got this carrot to chase continually. It's this ebb and flow of how much time are they going to give her or not? Do they pay attention to her even? She's still continuing.
I think that this is its own unique plot line here with what Gardner's doing. For BL13 or Aeonian, I don't think you focus on this at all. You just have to let those points go. It's a cost of doing business today in this group.
It's true. You just got to win a better sprint, right? That's what it really comes down to at the line. Because at 21, 22 seconds, it's just she's gonna extend that out to 35, maybe even by the time they come up over the top.
I think even more, actually. I think 45. And I honestly, yes, that's your gold standard. This is where it's hotting up.
What's the inventory
I would
here?
love to see a heat map
here? Because look, where's the rest of the groups? Like, everyone's gone at this point. This is going to be the race here at this point, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Nathan, if we did have a heat map for Kate Turden today, I think it would be just dark red at the back of the front group and just a tiny bit up at the front. But when it matters, she's going to be there today. And so if she takes second on the day, that's only 1 point less than what Eileen Gardner is going to get for winning outright. So actually, it's more than 1 point now that I think about it, but it's not that big of a difference.
How many ZRL helmets are in here? That's another question. Lots of champions. Joe Munden here, off the back on the chase, it looks like. Leonie Harper also here. Lots of ZRL
You think
helmets.
Joe Munden probably has 3 or 4 of those helmets in her garage.
Right? Like there's a lot of talent in here, that's for sure. Langham now at the front, pressing on. Good to see Zoe Langham here, pushing on now, trying to make some moves. Now it was Brooke that was making the moves initially. This is all strung out. Verhaeren continues to cover. Now, can Verhaeren hang on is going to be the question. As Langham goes 7.98 watts per kilogram coming from Zoe Langham. This is massive attack now, backing up 3.5. She's going to get a little bit of a gap. Now, does she continue on with Verhaeren? Does she have an interest of working with Verhaeren?
Wow. Sure, she does. She'll latch on as nothing wrong with that. Again, if she and Ariel finish together, they're both going to take a lioness's share of points home. Is Zoe Langham racing with a rear view mirror on her helmet?
Yeah, it looks like she has. Yes, she's got the little
that is
mirror.
as nerd alert as it gets.
I love the
Zoe
look.
Langham.
It's really good. It's really good. That little add-on.
That's classic. I saw Eric Schlange saying that it should actually work, that you could see what was going on behind you. Now, I don't know if you've ever even seen anyone in real life with one of that's more of my era. Oh
yeah, we've seen them around here.
Thing.
When you ride the bike path,
right.
when I go out on the bike path, we
them.
definitely have some guys out there and gals out there with them. That's for sure. They are going to get caught, it looks like. All back together. I think 1 or 2 riders might have gotten dropped off. Tamara's here with a few others. Just ahead, I think there's still a few chasers even between with the chase group. That's going to be Leonie Harper. Wow, Aeonian. Dave, this is a serious day for Aeonian. Struggling on the day. Stevenson here now able to make this group. We've got 3 from BL13 still up ahead. So nicely done. Verhaaren's the only one from what? Dave, BL13 are showing their dominance today.
Well, this is the story. Yeah, remembering Eiley Gardner is half a minute up the road right now. But yeah, but I mean, it's still Wahoo's day, but I'm going to give 100% emphasis to what BL13 is doing, is it's going to be very, very tight heading into the back half, the back 9 of this season here. But that's your champion. It looks like she's got 5.5K of racing left to the finish line. Don't want to hand out the top step awards yet, but certainly looking really good for Eiley. No surprise there. Chase behind, though. Boy, Nathan, this is really hard to predict today.
Yeah, the question is how much work they want to put onto the downhill here and into the flats, whether or not that really... They do have 3 riders, BL13 at least. There are some riders that could work together, but they're just dragging Wahoo with them, right? So at that point, it's like, is it just a waste of energy? Because Wahoo have so much representation here. You're just kind of working for them to out-sprint you at the line.
Well, you just nailed it. That's the rock in a hard place that you're up against. So why don't we leave it to Sarah Roach to attack the group? Go
right?
Sarah.
Sarah and Sargent. It's Sarah and Sargent. The double S's here now on the attack here. It's going to be Grace now, Roca Corba, Brooke just sitting in, as well as Langham.
You know, every athlete has their story. Nathan, as you well know from your time racing as a pro, and one of the things that I think the collective group recognizes is when someone is doing their hard work. And Sarah Roach is an athlete that a year ago would have been dropped out of this group. And now she's riding off the front of this group. That's what you call real progression in this sport. And sometimes you don't have to win or be on the podium to make these big moves in life. And big shout out to Sarah Roach today.
Now, we always get into this situation at the back end when there's like 5K, 4K, 3K left, risk reward. Do I chase? Do I not? What do I reserve to try and get the best position I possibly can? We've got 3 of those conversations at least, maybe more, to talk about out on course at this point, right? Eiley Gardner, she's all in. She's going to be digging all the way to the line to hold on to this gap. It's been brought down to about, did it say 24 seconds now at this point? She'll most likely hold on to this, but there's a reality
24
of
to
that.
Roach, yeah. Yeah, and you know what, Nathan, for Eiley, this won't go down as the greatest race of her life, right? This is who she is. This is her DNA. She is a really, really good bike racer and a kind of person you want on your team all day long. For Sarah Roach, on the other hand, these are the kind of days that put wind in your sails, where you realize, I'm a front group kind of rider. That's a mentality that is hard-earned.
Looking behind this now, Laura Meyer here. Now, this is a 3-rider group that's got an interest, that's for sure, with Aeonian now. Oof, they got to look. Now it's a numbers game. Got to beat the Synergy Rider. That's a big one,
late,
right?
Friend.
Yeah, a little too late. And they're just going to be thinking about, we got to beat the Synergy Rider. We're probably not bringing that group back. I mean, it's a full 18 seconds now at this point.
Nathan, we had a time 5 years ago when we were doing these broadcasts where the Hino team would dominate. We've seen Aeonian have runs that were, it's been, and they're still on it for the most part, but every championship run ends up finding the end of that run. And Aeonian now is seeing a re-energized Wahoo team coming strong, BL13, Roca Corva, Synergy. The balance, the competition that we're racing against is just getting better and better. But to be fair, Aeonian doesn't have their entire A team here today either.
A little bit of an attack off the front, it looks like here, coming in from the Ocean Boulevard descent. Nice little push here off the front from Zoe Langham. Now Arya Verhaeren. Verhaeren, though, not interested in working with Langham. She doesn't want to get out sprinted at the line, perhaps, and also not interested in catching her teammate, Illy Gardner. She doesn't want to bring them anywhere near. Zoe says, gone. Forget it, I'm gone. Oh.
Yeah, that's what you get when you ride in a breakaway with an alligator. Is you never know when they're going to snap and spin, and that's exactly what we got. Ariel Verhaeren showing a tremendous amount of heart. You don't become an Olympian just based on your wishes. It's hard work, and Ariel Verhaeren has never shied away from that. So there she is, back on that wheel. It's testy in this 2-rider group, but Zoe's not chasing her teammate back. She's racing to take second place points on the day. Certainly not looking to bring Ariel up to Eiley.
No, that would be a losing situation most likely if they
and she's not.
She did that.
At 1.8K to go, Gardner with 25 seconds. She's got the dub.
Now behind them here, it's interesting that they're not chasing at all. They're kind of letting these two neutralize each other. But BL13, they do end up at a little bit of a loss by not being involved at all here. But they're not worried about that because they've got the numbers, right?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So they're in a can't lose situation when it comes to beating Aeonian, but not beating Wahoo. And actually, they're probably not going to take the gold, and they're probably not going to lose to the bronze. They're locked in for silver here today. And there's really nothing that Ariel Verhaeren can do at this point. Whether she beats Zoe or not, it's not going to change the ultimate outcome for Aeonian.
All for pride now for Aeonian here at this point, and as many points as they can possibly take, right, to hold on as best they possibly can. The current series leader at 31 points.
And you have to think too, like, yeah, okay, we're probably not going to get second today, but we don't want to fall to fourth either, do we? Right? So every point does matter. Credit where it's due. You're never going to get a rider like Ariel Verhaeren to give up anything either. It would be like trying to pull a raw T-bone steak out of a pit bull's mouth. It's not going to happen.
Back in with Eiley. He's about to take that right-hand turn and see the final banner coming up at 195 beats per minute right now. 6.8 watts per kilogram for a moment. She's definitely got this one in the bag. Eiley Gardner for Wahoo.
Didn't nail it in. Yeah, huge effort from Eiley. Championship status has been unlocked by this woman a long, long time ago, but showing you just how good she is. A level up today.
Yeah,
she's still making 5 watts per kilo.
We said on that climb is where she was going to go, and she did it about quarter way up, even halfway up, made that move, pressed on, and was able to take this down. Real quickly, just want to double check here what's happened behind this curtain, as well as Sargent coming up ahead. A couple of attacks, actually, from that main group, looking to be involved. Don't want to miss the finish line for Gardner. Gardner about to cross here. She'll be taking this down easily. Now back into the main group, though, for the final, as Brooke and a few other now do get a gap.
All right, and taking a look, I mean, it's definitely Wahoo all day long, but then BL13 with 2 riders in this group. Again, recognizing the Australian champion with BL13. So this is the... Yeah, it certainly looks like BL13 should be good, and this doesn't hurt either.
Okay, turn. I knew she had the big kick on her. Will she be able to go all the way to the line? It's going to be, here comes Zoe Langham. Trying to hold on to the wheel. Langham, she going to be able to come around Kate? Kate's got a kick on her. Will she hold on? Langham right to the line. Oh, Kate just barely, I think, pulls it off. Wow. What
I'd give that one
from Kate.
Yeah, just like the men's race, we'll look at the back end API, but it looked like, Kate did have it by eye there. Just
That's
helps
massive for her. Pace. Seriously.
But Nathan, I think it's definitely a Wahoo day with the side of BL13.
Yeah, you're probably right there. Let's take a quick little look at that replay with it's the reason why I showed Kate at the start actually was because I knew she had that kick on her. We've seen it plenty of times before. I think our back-end data was holding off a little bit on the reality of what kind of sprint Kate has on her. And, we can take a little bit of a backwards here for a second, but let's go ahead and forward this. Look at where she's positioned here, Dave. Perfectly
all day
positioned.
She was at the back of every group that she was in. The only time that Kate's nose felt the wind was as she came through the sprint out of this reduced chase group. That's it. Although, Zoe, look at the surge from Zoe.
Yeah, and I think Zoe waited just a second too long. If she would have grabbed the roll through, right, from Kate and not had to close this couple little meters right here, jumped in and then come around, I think she may have been able to have it. I do think she might have had a higher kick, but it was the timing of Kate that actually ended up getting that for her perfectly.
Wow, that's closer. I mean, that we'll have to look at the API on that one, though, because that was even closer than I thought. It was Kate. Ariel getting up in there, that feels wrong. It feels like Zoe was closest. Let's watch it again.
Interesting. I didn't realize what you're saying there, actually. Oh.
I thought that Zoe was the second or third placed rider behind Kate, unless I almost want to watch it again just to confirm that one.
Yeah, I'm going back actually to take a look here real quickly.
I'll tell you what, I'll read this as we have it while we take a look. Eiley Gardner taking the win. There's no doubt about that. And Kate Turden coming through for second. We have Ariel Verharn getting up there for third with Zoe Langham in fourth. Don't believe what your eyes just told you, I guess. Lizzie Brooke in fifth. Sarah Roach in sixth. Grace Sargent in seventh. Laura Meyer in eighth. Vanessa Murray for ninth. And Natalie Stevenson in what was just a Donnybrook out there today. We've been talking about how it's your team points that matter and how it looked like Wahoo had done enough. And I think they did, whether Langham is third, second, or fourth.
I wonder if Langham just had an interesting ping, because Zwift Power is also showing me Ariel Verharn in third. There might have been a ping rate or something.
It did look interesting, to be honest. Well, if you're watching her avatar, that felt a little not exactly what you'd think you'd see.
Very interesting there, actually. We'll have to see.
I think we'll leave this as we see it rather than try to outthink it.
No, it is. It is as what we're seeing right here. That's what we're showing. So maybe a little handlebar bang there sometimes, because she probably saw the same thing on her end as well.
And I don't know that, I mean, sure, every spot matters, but I think in the big picture for Wahoo that there are enough points there that they can afford to let one or two slide and still be okay.
The big winners on the day are BL13. They've got 1, 2, 3 in the top 10. So do Wahoo Esports. And Aeonian are down only with Ariel. They're in third. The only Harper, Vicky Whitelaw, 13 and 14. Big win for BL13.
And if you move then Wahoo 2 points closer, then what we have is basically a three-way tie now, more or less, a 1 and 2 point differential amongst all of those squads. So things tightened up quite a bit. League got even more interesting heading into the last three races here.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not getting any updates actually on the overall at the moment for the league table, so we'll have to wait on that one. You have to head over to WTRL.racing. ZRL results in order to find those. Real quickly, everybody, as we finish up for the coverage today for the Zwift Racing League, we want to put in a quick little reminder. 2 of them next week will be here for the next team time trial, the second one of round number 3. And that is going to be race number 4, February 4th, team time trial on the Wandering Flats. You can join anytime, open all season long. Find your team, jump in, maybe get a little practice on Thursday as well, because team time trial would definitely take some tactics, doesn't it, Dave?
Yeah, and I just want to let all the teams out there know that I've got my Tron bike now. Just put.
I was going to mention that earlier. I wasn't sure if you wanted to spill the beans just yet. So pretty awesome.
Just part of my negotiating, part of the leverage I've got.
And that's what you have used today is your Tron bike, because it's faster on the dirt, right? That's what you 100%. Would have used. Yeah. I would
100%.
So Dave should have been racing today. Maybe we can get him to join later tonight. That's what we'll have to do.
Another squandered opportunity in the ZRL.
Real quick reminder, everybody, Majorca on April 3rd through the 6th, Zwift Community Live. Tickets are still available. Make sure to get yours quickly. You'll be able to see myself, Dave, GP Lama, Eric Schlange, amongst others, as well as Kristen Armstrong, multi-time Olympic gold medalist, Chris Hoy, Freddie Ovett. Plenty of names going to be there. Eric Min, Zwift Academy winners. I mean, there's going to be the entirety. It's a Zwift con, essentially. Zwift Community Live. Make sure get your tickets. It's going to be tons of fun.
I'm glad that we will be hanging out there, Nathan. Can't wait. And I can't wait to see how many community members we get to connect with in real life.
It's going to be awesome. Absolutely awesome. Can't wait to see them all there. Well, but we will see you before then next week. Make sure to tune in, same place every week with the Zwift Live community racing series that we do cover. Thanks everybody for tuning in from Dave and I, and we'll see you next week for WTRL Zwift Racing League race number 4 in round number 3. Until then, as always, from us, ride on.